Hello, I'm Dr. Stephen Myers, and today I want to talk about my experience with Sharia law. And Sharia law is the law that governs Muslims, their daily practice, and sometimes in the courts, depending on what country they're in. And so I want to look at the Sharia laws, some of the key ones, and my experiences with them. The Sharia law comes from the Arabic Sharia, meaning path or way. It's the moral or legal framework in Islam derived from their religious sources, which would be the Qur'an, their primary, most important scripture, the Hadith, which are reports about what the Prophet said and his actions, called Sunnah. And then Islamic jurisprudence, which is called fiqh, which is the scholarly interpretation applying these sources of the Quran and Hadith to your life. And Sharia is your divine guidance, ideally, and the fiqh is the human interpretation. And a lot of these things come from ChapGPT. But it's developed over time, and things have changed into a broad system governing Islam. Looking at the world here, in red is the countries that are strictly follow Sharia law and has made it their state law. And this is Saudi Arabia, Iran, Afghanistan, very strict in following Sharia law in every way they can. Then the yellow is they use some of it for civil law, but not all of it. And then in the green, it's mainly for personal guidance. So we have a number of different countries using it different ways. And some of my experiences, there was a guy at work that was a Muslim, and I would ask him questions about Islam. I didn't know much about Islam at all. I was completely ignorant about it. And he believed in Jesus as a prophet who would come again and destroy the wicked. I thought, wow, that's pretty similar to the Bible. And so I was interested. I started reading the Quran, and it seemed very hard to understand. And later studying it, I found out that Isa is actually referring to Jesus, the name for Jesus in the Quran. And Musa is Moses. And reading through it, my main takeaway was that kept repeating over that if you follow Allah, you will be blessed. You will end up in paradise. But if you don't follow Allah and His commandments, you're going to burn in hell. And that's my takeaway from reading the Quran. I kept repeating that. Now, also, I was told that a good angel sits on your right shoulder, telling you to do the right thing, the good thing, and good deeds, whereas the bad angel, like the devil, would be sitting on your left shoulder, telling you what you should be doing bad things. You should be doing that and not this. On your left shoulder, they're telling you all the bad deeds. Now, they would be recording your deeds of what you were doing. And then in the final judgment, they would weigh the good deeds against the bad deeds. And if you have enough good deeds, you would go into paradise. So that was one of the beliefs there. There was also a young Muslim girl at work, and she was so very happy. She was exciting. She was going to get married. And they said Islam will find her a husband. Sure enough, they found her a husband, and she got married and married a Muslim. And Muslim marriages are not recognized in the United States. For one reason, you can have 4 wives in Islam. In Quran Surah 4, verse 3, you can have up to 4 wives. After that, I talked to her how she was so happy about it. I never talked to her again after she got married. But others said she didn't look happy at all and may have had some bruises. And in the Quran, in Surah 4, verse 34, you can beat your wife. It's okay to beat her. And according to Vismani, it says you can beat her as hard as you want as long as you don't break any bones. That's the normal Quran. You can see that. Not others don't agree with that. Some it says some say lightly, hit her or beat her. Others say no, you just use words to beat her and not physical. And so there's some a discrepancy about that, about beating your wife. And then Alicia said she was wife of one of the wives of Muhammad. He struck me on the chest, which caused me pain, in Saudi Muslim. So here Muhammad hits his wife. So that's one of the laws, Sharia laws. And we want to look at some more. For divorce, this is what the guy told me at work. If you say, I divorce you, I divorce you, I divorce you, you say it 3 times, you're divorced from your wife. And the wife must leave without the children. The children belong to the husband, not to the wife. And she's more treated like a piece of property. And of course, you have to have a witness to this. Most times you want to work it out, but that's what you need to do for divorce. Just say it 3 times, I divorce you. We want to take a look at Muhammad's life. He had 11 wives, yet the Quran says he could only have 4. Muhammad married a 6-year-old girl and consummated the marriage when she was 9, according to Saudi Bukhara. And here we can see it over here. You can see the Arabic. The Prophet married me when I was 6 years old and consummated the marriage with me when I was 9 years old. And that's Alicia. And then Muhammad had sex with a slave girl, Mary the Copt, from Egypt. His wife, Alicia, again, was upset. And so verses in the Quran, Surah 66, 1 through 5, was revealed to allow Muhammad to do this behavior with the slave girl. Now we want to look at the world when it comes to child marriages. And in the bright red here, 40 to 75% of women are married before the age of 18. As usually it's due to poverty. And they may have to sell their children to get by. I remember being in Lancaster, Pennsylvania, hearing about an Amish family that sold a couple of their children to this guy so they could pay off their debts. He was going to pay them off. So they would sold him a couple children. And it happens a lot in Africa there, you can see. And in the Far East, child marriages. There's also what's called muta marriage, which is a quick marriage for sex, and then you annul it after the sex. And that's in Quran Surah 587. And in Sadi Bukhara, the muta marriage. It's not much of a marriage at all. And this mainly like for those at war or something. They needed a quick marriage for sex and then divorce them right afterwards. Then there's the rape of captives is okay in Surah 424. And this teaching about raping captive women caused Nabil Qureshi to leave Islam. And he has a very interesting video. He has a number of videos out about it. He has passed away now. But that was one of the key reasons for leaving Islam, because of the rape of captives is okay. We see this after the Iraq War. ISIS started taking over the large areas that were vacant. And ISIS killed the Yazid's men and raped the women. They took all the women and children. And this, most Muslims would condemn this genocide. Here's a picture of Yazid's celebration. But that was all right for them, the ISIS, just to kill the men and rape the women. And then in Iran, you have the morality police. If a woman's head covering wasn't covered enough, she could be arrested. And that's what happened to Mahsa Amini. Was arrested. And she died 3 days later, and protests erupted all over Iran. Here's a map that maps this out here. She's up in the top left-hand corner. And because her hijab, or head covering, wasn't covering enough, they arrested her, and we don't know for sure what happened, but she died just 3 days later. And this sparked a number of protests throughout Tehran and throughout Iran. And you can see some of that happened there. Now we're in Jordan. I hired a taxi driver to take my wife and I around Jordan. And he was a very nice and treated us to a wonderful meal, a celebration meal that he would give to his family. And they brought out the plate, and here on it was a lamb's leg, the hoof and the leg, all of it there. And this was like culture shock to me. Wow. But this was a delicacy. And he was very nice. And most Muslims are very, very nice. And I asked him about having more than one wife. And he says the wife will beg the husband to marry a younger wife so she doesn't have to do all the housework. She has to cook, she has to clean, she has to mend and do all these different chores. And when she's getting older, it's getting hard, so she begs her husband to get a younger wife who can do all this housework, where she can just boss the younger wife around to do the work, and she doesn't have to. Then remember at Petra, you can see here on the left, visiting there. And there was a guy dressed up like a pirate, just like in the Pirate of the Caribbeans, Johnny Depp. And he was dressed up like that. I was wondering about him, and I think it was my wife found him online, that he has like 200 or 300 wives. And what you do is find someone that's not married, offer him to come up to his cave and make a wonderful, delicious meal for her, and then consummate the marriage. And then, you know, the key is he wants your phone number. So when you're back in the States or wherever, he can call you and tell you a sad story of why you need to send him more money. Then near Madaba, I saw a tank between a house. I wonder, what is this tank doing between these houses? And he said it because it was to keep the peace between two feuding families. And if a person kills someone, it's the duty of the family to kill the other person in that family, and it keeps going on. So if someone kills someone in your family, you have to go and kill someone in that family, and then they have to kill someone back in your family. It's just a never-ending battle or blood feud. In Lawrence of Arabia, here's some actual pictures. These were actually black and white, but ChapGPT made them into nice color pictures for me here. Taken around 1917, 1918. This is during the Arab Revolt. And he was leading the revolt here, and a feud broke out, and one of his friends killed somebody, and now they wanted revenge and kill him. And so to stop this blood feud, he had to shoot and kill his friend to stop the sides from feuding. One day, it's been a few years now, I heard in New Jersey a father killed his daughter. I wonder, what in the world is going on? Why would a father stab and kill his daughter? And he was Muslim, and the daughter, it seems like, didn't want to follow all the strict rules of Muslims. And so it was the duty of the father to kill his daughter. There's also, if someone converts from Muslim to Christianity, it may be it's your duty to kill that daughter or that son. And this is called honor killing. And it's still practiced in some countries here. You can see, I don't know if you can see the small red there. It's highly reported incidences of honor killing in Pakistan, Iraq, Jordan, Yemen, that this happens. If the son does something very bad to humiliate and dishonor the family, the father needs to kill his son. It's very sad. And then the other countries are not so strict. In the Qur'an, Surah 5:38, as for a thief, male or female, cut off their hands as a punishment for what they have earned, a deterrent from Allah. So here in the Quran, it talks about cutting off a person's hand who steals. And sometimes they just cut off a finger and not the whole hand. But this happens, we have in the red here, in Saudi Arabia, Iran, Afghanistan, they still maybe infrequently enforce that law and cut off a hand or a finger. And others, ones that it's replaced by modern day law. They don't cut off your hand or fingers. So this gives you an idea of how some have practiced the Sharia law a little bit differently. In the Quran, Surah 24:2, it talks about adultery, that the punishment for adultery is 100 lashes of a whip, applying both to men and women. Sometimes this is practiced very strictly in some of the countries like Iran. Some scholars think that it originally said stoning. They would be stoned to death, but it was replaced by 100 lashes because in the Hadith, there's some sources saying that they need to be stoned to death. And they made this distinguishing, if you're unmarried, you would just get whipped 100 times, but if you're married, you would get stoned to death. In the Hadith. And I think that they practice, in Afghanistan they would practice that, stoning to death. I remember an incident about that. Now in the Bible, in the Old Testament, it talks about stoning on a lot more than just adultery. We have adultery in Leviticus, Deuteronomy, that they should be stoned. In Leviticus 24 there, blasphemy. If you blaspheme God, use His name in vain, you deserve to be stoned to death. Then a rebellious child who doesn't want to obey you can be brought to the elders and they can be stoned to death. Then Sabbath violations. If a man is gathering sticks on the Sabbath, he should be stoned. I remember in Jerusalem, in a hotel, went to into the elevator and they said, "Oh, this is a Sabbat elevator." And I didn't know what a Sabbat elevator was. But the Sabbat, meaning Sabbath, that you don't do any work on the Sabbath, so the elevator automatically stops at each floor. So you don't have to push any buttons or do any work. And so that's the Sabbat elevator. And so if you violate the Sabbat, you can be stoned to death. And then idolatry and false prophecies, you can be stoned to death in the Old Testament. In the New Testament, in John 8, there's an amazing story about a woman caught in adultery. And he says, let him that is without sin throw the first stone. So here we see mercy and judgment, and not judgment, of stoning, love and forgiveness. Looking at all these strict Sharia laws, I wonder why in the world would somebody want to be under Sharia law? But of course, if you're Muslim and you want to follow Allah, you want Sharia law, even though it's very, very strict. But for some reason, a lot of Muslims don't want to go to Saudi Arabia where there's strict Sharia law. They would rather go to the United States or to England or Europe and live as a Muslim rather than under strict Sharia law, like in Iran. And I want to say most Muslims are very, very nice. I've been to a number of different countries and they're very nice. And I ask, why would I want Sharia law? And I have a book about this, Insights to Islam. My son also helped me with this. And Don't forget to subscribe, ring the bell, because there's more videos on the way. The website is BibleandScience.com. Thank you very much for listening.